Most of my life, music has been extremely important to me. Since a teenager, going through my teenage years, going through traumatic experiences, and just navigating the challenges of life, music has been a constant companion for me. About 4 years ago, as I began my YouTube journey, I had forming in the back of my mind an idea to have guests on this channel to talk about their life experiences. A moment where we can discuss both of our experiences with music and how music has shaped us. I can proudly say now I am available and ready to do this series. This series that has been forming for 4 years. 4 years of me thinking over things, over memories of what music has done for me, the experiences I've been through with music. Join me with my first guest, Ross Morris, as we talk about our first memory of the songs that we listened to, our experiences at concerts, and of how music has helped us through loss. This is the songs that saved my life. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for starting this new series, which, I've had this planned for 4 years in my head. Still don't know what I'm doing right now.
Well, thank you ever so much.
Yeah, well, obviously we've known each other since childhood, really, and I've known that you've really liked music and you've been passionate about it. And like me, you've been on a bit of a journey with music in your life. I was actually thinking last night, when was the first time music actually massively impacted me? And I'm going to go on to you in a minute, but we were in year 9. I'll tell you, I remember it so vividly. We were in year 9, and I came home from school. My mum had given me this radio, and it had a tape recorder. At the time, I had a tape recorder still. And I just thought, I'll record any random new songs. Foo Fighters came on all my life. And it was that beginning with the guitar. There's something in me which just went, record this. And I recorded it. And then for the next, I think it was 3 minutes, it had me by the balls going, and I think that was like my first introduction to, like, obviously my love of rock music. Like, I know that you've kind of gone off rock music a bit, but
I know what you mean. I used to do that as a kid, even younger, recording. My parents had quite a big hi-fi, and I used to love as a kid messing with headphones. I can remember the first time ever wearing headphones. I love headphones now, but I can remember going, oh my God, the music is in my head. It's not coming out of speakers. So I was always, as a kid, just with headphones on, listening to the radio, recording bits, messing with the equalizers on the stereo, and like, I can change the sound and this. My dad was always like, get off it.
And you're like, no.
And I didn't know why. I don't know why I loved it. I used to go on, remember CFAX and Teletext. And like on Sunday and check the charts. I don't know why. I don't even know why, but I just was instantly fascinated as a young kid. And then your teenage years is where it starts to really matter, doesn't it?
Yeah, because that's last night. That was when I was really trying to think, was there songs before that? Because I'm going to admit it on here, I used to be an S Club 7 person. It's garbage now, in my opinion. But I remember my first gig was at S Club 7, but my first rock gig, I'm trying to remember like my first, oh my gosh, my music taste has changed kind of experience. But
my first gig was Evanescence. The Fallen tour. Was that 2003 maybe, I think, or like 2002? That was my first gig. Seether supported as well. They were great.
I've only recently got into Seether.
That was my first Academy gig. Was after that, and then Seether were, they'd supported Evanescence, and they were doing their own tour in smaller venues off the back of it. And I was like, let's go see them. It was only like a tenner a ticket back at the old Academy in Dale End. That was great. That was my first time at like a standing gig as well.
Well, that's funny you said Evanescence was your first gig because alongside Foo Fighters, and it was year 9 again. I remember in art they played the radio and
Yeah.
Evanescence came on. And I remember, I think it was Jordan Smith at the time when, oh, they're crap. And I was like, I don't want to upset anyone here. So I'm going to. But deep down, I was like, I like these. I like I like
there was a weird thing because I joined Arden in year 8. And it was a very, very different school to my other school that I came from. So in my old school, everybody was a chav. It was a completely chavvy school. Eminem's Slim Shady LP had come out. No, the Marshall Mathers LP. Everyone was exchanging cassettes of that. So it was a very chavvy drum and bass garage school. And then moved to Arden, and everybody was in baggy jeans with like 9 Inch Nails patches on their bags and like Slipknot patches. Yeah. And I was in like matching tracksuit, and I was like, I have no idea what. But luckily, all those patches, I was like, right, what is Nin? Oh, 9 Inch Nails, right? I've never heard of them. Yeah, Slipknot and System of a Down and all them.
That's the thing. Like, I think I got into that kind of music in college more.
Yeah,
because I remember they were all wearing it, and I bet you at that time they were only wearing it to be cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I like Slipknot. If my mum called me listening to Slipknot at that age, she'd be like, you need exorcism or something.
That's it. You only listen to that music at that age to annoy your parents, don't you?
Yeah.
So, like, honestly, no 13-year-old is listening to 9 Inch Nails properly.
I know, especially the song I Hurt Myself Today.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, this, I'm not sure if me just rambling on about this probably leads on to your first song, or
it does actually. The first song I chose in this, I thought, what was the first song that really hammered me as a teenager? Where you're just like, oh, I'm this, whatever this is, I want more of this.
Yeah,
and this, and I ended up with it tattooed down my wrist, which you won't see because it's inverted or whatever, and it's an awful tattoo. But it's "Moments Forever Faded" by Funeral for a Friend, which is a British rock band. Changed my life. I've got to have seen them over 20 times. I even went and saw them just this year, just gone. They broke up several times and keep somehow getting back together. And like me and this fan were chatting in the pub, and he was like, "Oh, how many last ever gigs have you been to?" Well, about 3. But they just keep getting back together, keep flogging the dead horse. I remember my mate Will was like, "Oh, Funeral are touring again. Do you want tickets?" I was like, "Are they still going?"
I know.
Like, yeah, I'm like, yes, of course I want tickets, but how are they still going? How is it still a thing? But sure enough,
like for me, I just reacted to Sum 41, and they're splitting up. Yeah, but I saw them live. Most funniest concert I've ever seen. It was so much fun. But they said, "Oh, we're disbanding." I thought, give it a couple of years, you'll be back.
Yeah, they always do this. And the last Funeral tour, they played 2 nights in Birmingham. They did like the whole of Casually Dressed and all the B-sides one night, and then the next night, the whole of Hours and all the B-sides. And we had tickets for both nights, and it was amazing. They've been broken up for about 5 years. I have never heard a room of 30-year-olds singing like that. Like, I remember the old Academy gigs, you could barely hear the music over everybody singing. And that doesn't seem to happen anymore. Maybe because I don't go to those sorts of gigs anymore. But being back in that room, everybody was our age. You know that you've like been to the same gigs, and we were chatting in bars leading up to it. Like, oh, I saw them at that gig, and you're like, oh, I saw them at this gig, and oh, I went to that gig, and that. Oh, yeah, I saw them at that as well. And just like the reminiscing.
I love that. I love that feeling. It was like that, to be honest, when I went to see Linkin Park.
Yeah. Oh, you got to see Linkin Park, didn't you?
Oh, mate, the last ever show before Chester just. That was tragic. And also, they've got a new Linkin Park song coming out this Friday. They're releasing which whenever they do that, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to react to it. It's special, you know. But everyone, like, you could hear every generation that, you know, because Linkin Park started something, you know, with their music. They were just singing the songs, you know, and he was like, you know what? I'm one of these.
I remember my cousin playing like Crawling and stuff off Hybrid Theory when I was a bit younger than him, and just remember being like, I don't know what this is, but I kind of like it, but I don't know. It's a bit like, but yeah. So let's see if I can play Moments Forever Faded in all of its wonderful emo glory.
First time I'm actually listening to Funeral for a Friend.
Look,
first time.
They're a Welsh band, but they were the hardest working bands. They were constantly touring, and Birmingham loved them. And that's why I think that's why they did their last gigs in Birmingham.
Yeah.
They were like, you guys have always been there for us. And Matt's voice is just phenomenal. Amazing. So let me know when you want me to press the play button.
You can press play whenever. I'm on the journey. Very pop-punky, the sound.
Yeah. Nice simple chords.
Very pop-punky.
Yeah. I haven't heard it in a few years, to be fair.
Like that. I love a good riff.
Yeah. And it all moves out of the way for his vocals.
It's hard to think that they're Welsh because he sounds American.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's those proper sing-along choruses.
Yeah. Am I right in thinking that this was out like in the 2000s era?
Yeah.
I'm
2003
hearing...
maybe?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, such teenage angst. I'm feeling it. Yeah. It's really making me think how much my taste has changed very recently as well. Now this is what I call the builder or the bridge.
Yeah, little
like building up again.
Yeah. Sort of hands in the air in the pit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, they changed the speed then.
It sort of jumps into the end. Right, well, that's what a tune.
that. You know what? That is a tune. Like,
I struggled to pick which Funeral for a Friend song I wanted. It was like had to be them as an opener, but I couldn't. But I thought, well, I've got Moments Forever Faded tattooed. It's got to be that, really.
I've had a lot of people who messaged me saying, Dan, you've got me down a rabbit hole and it's very hard now to choose.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I haven't thought of any because I kind of just know the songs for me.
Yeah.
Like, but then again, they will change because I'm like, oh, I missed that one out.
yeah, I was doing the same thing. I've got loads of weird bits of Funeral for a Friend I've got all signed CDs. I've met him a couple of times. Oh, we've got so when I was in Lunar Kiss, our second album, we worked with the producer who produced Funeral for a Friend's second album.
Wow.
And we just kept badgering him all the time about Funeral for a Friend because we were all big fans. And we're like, tell us this. And he ended up, we managed to get a copy of the demos that Funeral had sent him. And he was like, don't share these with anyone. It's like, John, it was 20 years ago. No one cares. they broke up years ago.
It's not like just going to go, oh, by the way.
And I've shared it with loads of other Funeral for a Friend fans. I'm like, I've got this. Listen to this. It's the demos. It's raw. It's like, just little things. So we were like, we have to work with John because that was the sort of sound we wanted. Although it's the album after that one. But basically,
so that song you played, like, where were you, like, obviously in your life? And
I would have been. I can remember the first time sort of hearing that. I was on some family holiday to Centre Parks, and I just got one of those MP3 players at the time, and it was just when LimeWire was a thing. And I'm sure I heard somebody talking about Funeral for a Friend, and I was like, "Oh, that sounds weird." Download a bunch, took it on holiday to listen to it, and I was stood by some man-made artificial lake in Centre Parks and played that. And it was Escape Artists Never Die that I played first, and it was just like, wow. It was like, yeah, love this band. And then Moments Forever Faded. She Drove Me to Daytime Television. That whole album, basically, I was just like, oh, there isn't a bad song on it. Everyone, I just probably played that on a loop for about 5 years.
Well, when you find your band, your favorite band, you can't, like,
Seen them so many times in so many different situations. And I haven't listened to them like that, sat and listened to them for years, other than at the gigs. Be like, yeah, go on, then I'll go to the gig, sing along. But yeah, I miss Funeral. I miss being that enamored with a band as well. When you get to our age, you're like, it's all right. Yeah, it's really good.
I think I totally agree, because obviously, with me doing this reactions channel and stuff like that, it's now giving me that second burst.
Yeah.
Because before I was just like, I kind of miss the hearing a band for the first time feel, that freshness of, oh wow, like this is something new for me to dive into.
Yeah,
music today I think it's getting a bit samey.
Yeah, completely agree.
Yeah,
even when you've never heard a song before, you're like, well, I've heard it, I've heard so much like it. But then I guess that's just age, isn't it? We have been listening to music for 20 odd years now, and you are like, well, yeah, I know. I can list your influences from whatever song you listen to. You're like, yeah, I kind of heard it. Which is why when you said I moved away from rock music, I kind of did after I left Lunar Kiss, but it was only because I felt like I'd heard everything that the guitar had to offer.
Yeah.
As soon as somebody picked up a guitar, I'm like, I've heard it. If not exactly that, I've heard something that's like it or similar. And it was just like, it stopped advancing a bit to me. It felt like a creative cul-de-sac. Sort of rock music fans were like, oh, Pink Floyd didn't do that, and Led Zeppelin didn't do that. And I'm like, well, that was 50 years ago.
I know.
It's like, you have to push forwards. I feel like rock music, you were punished for pushing forwards.
Yeah.
Whereas electronic music's the opposite way. You're punished for not pushing forwards.
I think now, like with the music these days, especially with, I'm going to say them, Sleep Token, I was hesitant of reacting to them. I was really like, they just look like Slipknot. The guy's got a mask, and stuff like that. But yet when I listened to the song Summoning, I was like, holy shit, they're actually like blending genres together.
Yeah.
And I was like, this was not what I expected. And that's kind of why I like them so much, because I was like, okay, you've just completely shocked me.
Yeah.
And they call it, I don't know what they call it. Like, there's a mixed genre, what they call them. Anyway, yeah, I can go off on.
I love when you come across those bands where it's genuinely something new and different, and you sort of want to go, "Hey, everybody, listen to this, look at this. This is different and new. Like, get on this now."
And they're like, "Oh, I don't know." It was a bit like that, to be honest, with Muse in school.
Yeah,
I remember I used to listen to Muse a lot, and I'm like, "Oh, what are you listening to?" This was before the album Black Holes and Revelations came out, when they went mainstream.
Yeah, I know the one. Absolution was before that, wasn't it? Yeah.
That's like one of my favorites.
I haven't listened to that for years. Is that it was Origins of Symmetry was before that? I remember that one.
Yeah, I remember in school someone said, "Oh, they're rubbish. Muse will disappear in ages." Kind of a year later, I love Muse. What? Hang on, can I reverse back to last year? when you said to me.
And there was that period in Kerrang where every single year Muse was being voted as the best live band. I never got to see them. I had so many opportunities, and it was always like, oh, I'll catch them another time. And I've just never seen them.
They are really good, but now they're very just mainstream. They've got like, you know. Anyway, so have you got the second song? Like,
I do. The second one, it's kind of hard. I can't talk about songs that saved my life or changed my life or affected my life without talking about Luna Kiss. So I've chosen Take Her Away from my own band.
Okay.
Bit of self-promotion. Even though I'm not in Luna Kiss anymore, but the boys are still going. They're actually in Wales at the minute, demoing some new, they've rented a little farmhouse and they're demoing some bits in there. So I'm still on really good terms with the guys. I absolutely love them. I'm supporting them in April.
Oh, awesome.
Which will be really weird. That hasn't been announced yet, but nah.
This will be released next week, so you're probably going to announce it then. And
well, either way. But yeah, so I'm supporting them, which is going to be weird, supporting my own old band. But so Take Her Away, it was a song that I never didn't enjoy playing. It was like my favorite song in the set list when it's like, oh, Take Her Away is coming up next. Just like, I can't wait. It's one of the only songs I can still play flawlessly through on bass. And it's a big tune. The video for it is one of my favorites that we did as well. But it slams in, I think.
I'm feeling very Queens of the Stone Age. Rock. The drummer's a bit jazzy. Why can't I hear jazz in this?
Not on stage, he's not.
No.
I loved playing this song. The way it just sloops into this like soft, floaty.
I'm telling you what this reminds me of. The Showbiz album by Muse for some reason. Feeling that Showbiz album, you know, the Cave and stuff.
Yeah. I haven't listened to that for years.
After this, I think you can put it on. Oh, I like that wavy guitar sound. I really do. Really
the way everything sort of falls away underneath it.
Yeah. This would be a really good song in King Tut's in Glasgow.
Yeah, we never got to play King Tut's. I'd love to have done.
I went to see a gig there. It's very good.
Yeah, great venue. So many of those kind of dissonant chords that Chris is doing, where like, almost doesn't work in places.
You've got a mix for me, Queens of the Stone Age, that Muse album. That Black album by us, where for some reason I'm thinking, not my favourite was the other one, AM.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of AM and then I'll give those elements.
We might have done this around about the time of AM.
Yeah.
become. Sort it out, figure out what she's become.
That sounded a guitar pedal that makes your guitar sound like an organ. And that's basically like Chris's signature sound. It's on most songs somewhere.
That's awesome, because at first I was thinking, are they fading out? Because I'm going to be honest with you, Ross, one of my pet hates of a song, you know, when there's a really
the fade out, yeah,
and they fade out. I'm just like, what? Why?
It feels lazy, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh.
We didn't do short songs.
No.
Forgot about this whole section.
I'm going to be honest, I thought the song was finished.
It was usually our last song in the set list.
I can tell, like, this is like the ultimate endo.
Yeah, it ends several times. Yeah.
I think the kids are about to have a research of people listening to their music after this.
Yeah, I hope so, because I still get royalty money off this.
Anyone watching, check them out.
Not the new stuff, I don't get paid for that. What a tune.
That is a tune. That was like it got me a bit when it kind of went really quiet, and I thought, okay, that's what I said about fade out, because I thought it was the end of the song.
Yeah,
it's a bit like you know, the Summoning by Sleep Token.
Yeah.
It does what this song did, and then suddenly it went in a different angle and in a direction. And I was just like, okay, we're going here then.
I used to enjoy watching people try and clap along to that tune. Because it's in weird signatures. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 day. It's like, and people are like, no.
There's other people just going, I'm just going to stand here and enjoy the music.
Yeah. It listens quite well, but when you look into it, you're like, oh, there's weird little beats missing and stuff added, and which is what we tried to do, really. Try and make it not obviously really complex, which took you years of writing. I think it was like 5-6 years between our first and second album.
Wow.
And then again, there's been years. The boys have released a couple of EPs. I don't know if they're working on a new EP or if they're planning on putting it as an album. I don't know, but they've got new material coming.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
The lads, they're still doing well.
Obviously, I'll put a link for Lunakiss underneath the screen, you know, when I've edited it and released it. So
I made a whole playlist of options of songs for this podcast. I was like, I'll select like 50 odd, and I'll work through. And so I can just
yeah,
send you a link to the playlist if you want on Spotify.
Over and that'd be awesome, because if it gets people listening to the music,
Yeah.
like,
and even if we said about doing 10 songs on this, it's like, hang on, some songs are like 5 minutes long. If we do 10 plus talk about them, we'll be here for hours.
Well, how many songs are we doing on this now? Like,
however many you want to, until we're like,
shall we say 5 or 6?
Yeah, let's look. Well,
because I was just thinking, like, 10 songs, we're going to be here for like 3 hours.
Yeah, that's it. Part 1, part 2.
Yeah, obviously later in the future, if you want to do that, we'll go and do that.
My partner finishes work at 5, so that gives us an hour, and let's just see what we get through.
Well, shall we say just 5 songs, and then we can do a reaction, and then call it a day?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I think, to be honest, I'm going to leave this in. I think this is going smoothly.
Yeah.
It's my first time doing this, guys, so just...
Right, so what song would I choose? Out of my list to go next.
I've just made it even worse for you.
Whittled it down, and I've got to whittle down the whittle down. I know a song. When we were talking about hearing a song for the first time and being like, oh, this is something.
Yeah.
So the next band is a band called Howl and the Hum, who are from York.
Okay.
We went out in Coventry one night. James, the drummer from Lunar Kiss, and a guy called Tommy, who was the bass player from a different band in Cov, Dub Jam Force, who were amazing. No longer together, but they were phenomenal. And Tommy was like, oh, I'll take you guys out for the night. He's like, I'll pay for everything. He's like, you guys, I think we'd been buying him drinks for weeks because he was skint. And he's like, I've been paid, so I'll take you guys out. So we were like, well, let's go out. I
think if someone said that to me, I'm like, right, suiting up, we're going to go.
Yeah. We're going to London.
Like when I was in Edinburgh with Nick Smith and David Wood, and Nick said, I'm taking you guys to the Balmoral. And I was like, no, it's not.
I'll have a steak.
No, we only went for a coffee, but my gosh, I felt poor. I felt really poor. Like, the receptionist was looking at us, and I was like, don't look at me.
Yeah, we've all been there. But we were like, let's just go to a random gig. The Tin, a venue in Coventry, really cool venue.
Yeah.
Like, it's a bit like I can't think of the name of is it the Tons in Glasgow? It's all curved ceilings, brick.
To be honest,
is it the Arches?
I've only been to King Tut's, and also one night I had people come to visit, and we managed to get into a free gig. Ivor, she's a Norwegian artist. She's incredible. Some of her songs are on TV and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was in a church. Glasgow love to do gigs in churches.
Churches are great for gigs.
I don't know how I can't remember getting into the church because I was a bit.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, I stood there and went, what am I doing here? Okay, a free gig, because the guy had run out of tickets. So he goes, just go in.
Just get in. But the Howl and the Hum. So we've gone, the Howl and the Hum, never heard of them. Let's just go anyway. We were on the drink, really. We weren't about the music. We've gone in, and this band was playing, and it's one of the only gigs where I don't think any of us said a word. We were just stood there like, just did not expect it. And then afterwards, we went up to talk to the guys at the merch stand. Really drunk by that time. We're going, guys, you guys are brilliant. Oh, that was amazing. We're in a band, right? We're in a band. We see a lot of bands. You were good. It was one of those voices that his voice was just phenomenal.
Yeah.
The only other band I've come across is Nothing But Thieves.
Mate, actually, my channel's, well, no, sorry, that's Nothing More. Nothing But Thieves I know about because of the song Sorry.
Yeah.
Or something like that. The guy's voice is just...
We supported them once years ago. It was when they were just on their way up. We were their support band, and during sound check, when he was sound checking his vocals, we were like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, how are we supposed to support this?
We're just going to go home.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. One of the best voices, to hear him just without the band, sound checking his monitors and stuff. We were just like, oh my goodness. And the same with the Howl and the Hum. Really just unique, interesting. His songwriting's gorgeous, and he seems to write about cars quite a lot for some reason in his songs. He seems to consistently reference cars.
Yeah, you reminded me of when I went to see Tom Odell.
That name rings a bell.
Well, it was the day before the Rag and Bone Man became absolutely massive with the song Human.
Yeah.
And he came on stage, and me and my friend looked at each other going, what's this fat guy doing on stage? Like, you know, looks can be deceiving.
Yeah.
And we were just looking and, oh, what are we going to listen to here? And he opened his mouth, and the whole room
Yeah.
was quiet. It was like everyone was just so focused on listening to his voice.
Yeah.
And he was like, wow, you know, and I love it. I love live music which does that.
Yeah, it does. You only really get that if you've never heard it before, isn't it? If it's something first, you're like, oh, go on then, play us your little song. And then you're like, oh, that was brilliant.
It's a bit like that story with, I kind of got a love-hate relationship with Ed Sheeran, but
yeah,
when he was in, I think, Jamie Foxx's jazz club, Jamie Foxx, an actor, he was in America, and Ed was trying to be known, and he went into this all-black jazz club, and they were like, Jamie, what the hell are you doing? Get your lad up there. Like, you know, and then when he started playing, everyone just went really quiet.
Yeah.
And Jamie Foxx was like, that's when he had the crowd, you know. Yeah. You know, but yeah. I like Ed, but I don't.
I'm the same. It's like you can't take away from the bloke. The bloke's shifted millions of albums, and it's like he's not terrible. I find when it comes down to who is it that's at the minute? Lewis Capaldi at the minute. The guy's got a fantastic voice. I just don't believe you. Do you know what I mean? It's like I don't believe what you're singing. I don't believe you mean it, and I kind of feel the same about Ed Sheeran. It's like, I just don't believe you. It's like, you've got a great voice, great technique, and it's all cool. But something doesn't resonate with me, and it's not hitting something. And it's like, yeah. And Capaldi's the same. It's like, you've got a great voice, but I'm not buying it.
I am very much the same. Anyway, shall we get on to
go on, let's have a look. The Howl and the Hum.
So we're doing 5, aren't we? 5
go on then. This is on 3.
Okay.
Very soft song, but ramps up quite nicely. And when we saw them, he said, oh, this is a new song we're sort of working on. And I remember being instantly struck by it. I was like, that's beautiful.
Wow.
Drunk in the back of your car again.
I like slow burner songs when they just go up and up.
Yeah, it's just in no rush.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just like the old days of spinning around.
And from what I get, the song's about his ex. It's sort of seeing his ex-girlfriend's car after it's been sold, and you go, oh, that's the car. And I think that is important for teenage couples.
Yeah.
When one of you gets a car, you can suddenly go and park the car somewhere. You haven't got to be at your parents' house or something. Yeah. It becomes your own little embryonic kind of place.
Yeah, you're away from the control of parents and that. Yeah.
Gone is the stale smoke of fresh cigarette.
I can imagine people were just very quiet listening to this.
Now there's just kids' toys and air freshener. Gone are the remnants of Jessica. Gone are the remnants of Jessica. Well, I know I'm wasted, but sweetheart, I miss you.
Reminds me of the band Codaline for some reason.
Who?
There's a band called Codaline who they sound like they're very indie. Like I can't really describe what their genre is.
Yeah.
I'd say emotional rock, kind of Snow Patrol kind of rock.
Yeah.
But it's lovely, emotional.
To be fair, I hadn't compared these to Snow Patrol, and you kind of there is there.
orchestra? Or is that guitar?
Tremolo picking really fast with lots of reverb.
It sounds like a violin in the back. Not violin, but the cello kind of sound.
There's a lovely version of them doing this live with an orchestra.
When the car lost a wheel in the snow, the three of us huddled together for warmth between the East Midlands Parkway and near Nottingham. The car survived and it keeps rolling on as we pull up in silence outside of my house. The car stalls and shudders, but the engine still growls. You hide your tattoos, I know this is the end. I know everything changes. Can't we pretend? Can't we pretend now? Can't we pretend?
Yeah.
Can't we pretend now? I know I'm wasted, but sweetheart, I miss you. I wish you didn't have to see me like this. Well, here's to the ghost of something to remember. You call it age and I call it surrender. Hold on to the past, 'cause the future will haunt you. Your dad's Fiat Punto in sweet fading silver.
It's just such an odd thing to write a song about, but it's... It still doesn't rush. It's still...
No. I wouldn't throw it old on it.
Yeah. As you get older, you mellow, don't you?
Here's to the ghost of something to remember. You call it aging, I call it surrender. Hold on to the past, 'cause the future will haunt you. Your dad's Fiat Punto in sweet fading silver. Yeah.
Oh, man. What about the pipes? No wonder you guys felt, oh my gosh, how are we going to go
Yeah.
off?
Oh no, that was nothing but thieves. We just went to watch these, yeah.
Well, still.
Yeah, I'll go and see them again next time they tour.
Your car again.
Yeah, a few of their songs reference cars. They do a gorgeous song called The Only Boy Racer on the Island, and they were talking about doing a tour of like the Shetland Islands and the west coast of Scotland and stuff, and playing in small venues. They were saying they're in their bus, and this boy racer kept sort of swerving around and racing them around. We're like, what is he doing? And he said, like, oh, he's the only racer on the island. He has nobody to race. So he just drives around the island and like...
That sounds pretty lonely.
Yeah, it's a really lonely song. And it's like, the song's about, oh, they'll hear my engine from the mainland and stuff, and about how he wants to be part of the car race community, but there just isn't one on this godforsaken rock of an island that he lives on. And it's a really sweet song. And there's a song by theirs called Until I Found a Rose, which is beautiful. That was my other potential selection for this one, which I keep saying to my fiance, it'll be a wedding track of ours. Gorgeous love song. But yeah, they've got a new album coming out soon, I think, which I'm really looking forward to.
I didn't check them out. Well, we could actually say that this is part one.
We could.
If you want to continue next week, let me know.
We could potentially do. I could do the electronic side next week.
I think me saying, okay, 10 songs, that's a big task. So I think if you're up for it next week, we can do part two.
Yeah, let's do that. So which one did I wanted as my fifth? And
how many songs have we had? Is it?
I think that's 4. What do we have? Moments Forever Faded, Take Her Away.
And was it this one?
Sweet Fading Silver. Yeah, so that's 3 then, actually, didn't we? We've got 2 more.
Oh, okay, we've got 2 more.
Oh, I know. This is a gorgeous one. It's one of this song is a second version they did for an 11th anniversary of their album. When the album first came out, it's a super group essentially. Guys from Manchester Orchestra and Kevin Devine, who's like a solo artist, and somebody else sort of get together and made a little album.
It's a bit lovely. Like how who's the guy who sings for Pearl Jam? His name's gone on my head.
Is it Eddie Vedder?
Yeah, him, Chris Cornell when he was alive. They did is it Temple of the Dog?
I'm not sure. I've never heard of them. I didn't know he did some super group thing.
They did a super group, and I'll send you the song which I love. I think it's called Hunger Strike.
Oh yeah, I'll listen.
Amplifies Chris Cornell's voice. I mean, he didn't even have to amplify it. But yeah, when you say supergroup, I instantly think of them, like when they did that. And I was gutted. I missed out on seeing Chris Cornell.
Yes, I never. That was a shocker one, wasn't it? And he had a phenomenal voice. One of those voices where you can tell the microphone isn't doing all the work.
Yeah,
which isn't necessarily a bad thing.
He did a cover of Michael Jackson's Billie Jean, didn't he?
Oh, I've not seen that.
I've done a better version.
Yeah, I'll have a look for that. Yeah, that's one of those tunes. Sometimes when a band does a cover, you think a bit like, why?
Yeah.
Like, why would you cover that? What are you possibly going to add?
Yeah.
And like Billie Jean is one of those ones where if somebody said, "Oh, let's do a cover of that," you'd be like, "Really?" I know someone who was in a cover band and they were like, "Oh, we're going to do Dire Straits," and I was like, "Don't," because as an audience member, if you go, "Oh, this next song's Dire Straits," you instantly go, "Go on then." Rather than like, "Oh yeah, you're going to cover Dire Straits," you go, "Go on then."
I think if you're going to cover a Michael Jackson song, just for example, you've got to have the voice for it.
Yeah. Or you've got to remove it so far away from its original that it...
Yeah.
But then Alien Ant Farm did...
Smooth Criminal.
Smooth Criminal. That was brilliant for some reason.
Fall Out Boy did Beat It.
Yeah, they did Beat It as well. And you're like, oh, it's really good. You're like, I don't want it to be, but it is.
They've also done recently that song, how We Didn't Start the Fire.
Oh, yeah. I've heard that on the radio.
And I must admit, I was like, it's all right.
There's been a few of those songs in my life where you're like, oh, it's great. Who did I do that recently? Somebody recently, like, oh, it was Harry Styles, where you're like, oh, I'm feeling this. What's this? And then it's like Harry Styles. You're like,
you want to walk away in shame and
you're like, yeah, it's really good. You're like, oh, great, it's really good, isn't it? Yeah, it's brilliant. You're like, fine, yeah, I like him. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Billie Eilish was another one of that for me. I wrote Billie Eilish off as teenage girl rubbish, and then I heard James Blake's cover of When the Party's Over. And I was like, this is one of the most beautiful songs I've ever heard. Who sang this? And I was like, Googling it. I was like, oh, Billie Eilish.
Oh, great.
Great, it's brilliant. And then I played her album to death for the next year. And I was like, oh, this is one of the best things I've ever heard.
The thing is, with Billie Eilish, whenever I listen to her, I'm like, she's brilliant. It's actually her brother who writes the songs.
Yeah, he's the...
But you can't fault her for what she actually produces. It's like, I really like it.
Yeah, I think it's phenomenal.
I mean, she did a pretty damn good Bond song.
Yeah,
she did a very good James Bond
I don't think she translates to on stage.
No.
She's a headphone album for me. Like,
yeah.
It doesn't kind of work on stage because her voice, the microphone kind of has to do all the work. I think it's because it's so delicate and tiny. And speak up. You're on stage.
She does this kind of whiny singing, like, I can't do it. I won't.
Yeah.
I think you know what I'm on about.
Yeah, and it's great in headphones.
Yeah. Anyway.
So, Bad Books. I said this album came out 11 years ago. It's their second album that they did, and it's called 2, but like 1-1 in Roman numerals. But I like they did an 11th anniversary of it rather than a 10th. With like the 1-1, it was just like, and I was kind of like, it doesn't need it, but it's really cute the way that they've redone it and it's kind of modernized it. It detracts nothing from what I loved about the first one. In fact, adds to it, to be honest. I like it starts with the original demo.
So who is this again?
Bad Books.
Okay. Oh, very country.
Yeah.
Found a newspaper, thumbing my hands through it, doing another dance, doing what I could with the dawn.
Yeah, just.
You gotta leave me alone. And I wonder if you still live at home. Yeah, I wonder if you still live at home. What do you think you'd have done without a cold beer, fresh pack of cigs and zags, lighting a
It's so whimsical and delicate.
I was hungover and you would come hang over.
Yeah.
I was hungover and you would come hang over. Start a biblical fire.
I like the. I don't even know what it is.
You and your dad were
It's just
tragic misfits.
they put like errors in it. There's like bits where you're like, are my headphones broken or is no, they've done it on purpose.
When a man loves a drink more than blood, so I pace my room for an hour or two every day since 2001. And I think that I talk too much.
I like that. I understand.
Like the children's choir in the background.
So I pace my room for an hour or two every day since 2001. And I think that I talk too much.
Definitely feeling that. I don't even know what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's that. And I don't know, that album has never dropped out of my like most played since it came out 11 years ago. And now they've just redone it. And I'm like, oh, brilliant, there we go. It goes slamming back into the just top
It's a bit
spot
like
again.
it's a bit like me with Green Day, American Idiot.
Yeah,
like-
it just never goes away.
That album hasn't gone away. I've even got a blooming poster of them, like, you know, because like
Did you go to that gig?
At the time it came out, or
Yeah.
no? It was when we were leaving year 11.
Yeah, you must have been one of the only kids in school who wasn't at that gig because everybody. I remember the day after, everybody in school was like, "Ah, it's brilliant!" Ah! Remember bumping into James Lockett there, and like Jordan was crowd surfing, and it was incredible.
I had a bit of I'm going to say it now because my mum and dad will never watch this because I had a bit of a controlling childhood growing up, but I made up for it because I saw Green Day in Manchester Arena a couple of years ago with a friend who's now passed away, and mate, when they sang Jesus of Suburbia, I couldn't help it but cry. I was
That is a phenomenal song.
It's one of the best.
Yeah,
you know?
The lyrics are incredible.
Yeah.
I haven't, again, Green Day, I haven't listened to Green Day for years, but
Their
yeah,
new
Jesus
album-
of Suburbia is phenomenal.
The new album is very good. Very good, to be honest. Like, it's like their old school stuff mixed with American Idiot.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, I know they're remanufacturing this all out of themselves again, but give me more. You know, I still think I'm a pop punker kind of person in my heart.
Pop punk at heart, yeah.
You know, like Good Charlotte.
There's a thing with like, so I can't think who it was who said with Green Day and Blink-182 and that sort of thing, where you're like, come on, guys, you guys are 50 now. The songs coming out of their mouths are like, you're like, yeah. It worked when you were younger. When I was thinking,
yeah.
Like,
Well, Blink's new album actually is very personal. It's very like, obviously Mark, he had
a bit more grown up.
Yeah, he had cancer, didn't he? And he battled it, and it was he had a cancer, and it actually got him and Tom DeLonge to talk again.
Oh, no way.
I'll send you the Jay-Z interview because like Mark Hopper actually said there was a point where he's like, I don't fucking want to talk to Tom DeLonge. He can, you know.
Is he still a nutcase, Tom DeLonge?
He's mellowed out, but he's still got that, you know. Like Mark actually said in an interview, you know, with Zane Lowe that it was like, you know, he was making fun of Tom all about how aliens are real, and then suddenly turns out they are because the government has said. Because what do I do now?
You lost a whole career of making fun of him.
Yeah, but yeah, this song, that was a really good song. Like
the album's sung by two different people, so it alternates each. There's Kevin Devine sings one, and then Andy Hall sings the next one, and they're both their voices. They've swapped to doing harmonies behind each other. I actually got to see them live. I never, ever thought I'd see Bad Books live. I didn't think they'd even play live, and they didn't. We saw them in Manchester, not in Manchester, Nottingham maybe. It was Manchester Orchestra, and Kevin Devine was supporting. And I remember thinking like, ooh, they might do a Bad Books song or two. That would be nice. That would be amazing. And they came out of this, they'd upgraded all the other venues from like little 200 cap venues up to maybe 500s, but not Nottingham. And they basically came on stage and were like, nobody bought tickets to see us here. So we're going to make this a Bad Book show. And they just played all Bad Book stuff the whole night. There's a few people in the audience like, what is this? But I was just like, never thought I'd hear those songs live. And they played the whole way through both the albums. They've got a third album since then, which is beautiful as well. There's a song called Lake House, and some of it's gorgeous. I recommend checking them out.
I will, definitely.
Really good.
Well, like this is, I'm going to be honest, this has been a little journey for me because my channel, I get a lot of people going, baby metal and all that. Like, it's great. It's great for a reactor for the first time, but I haven't listened to it since.
Is that like a thing of doing reaction videos where, like, I don't know, you never come across react to people going, what the fuck is this? This is awful. You know, it's always, everyone always goes, oh, that's great.
I'm going to be honest, I've been one of those where if I don't like a song, I'll say it.
Yeah.
And then suddenly the person who's asked it types, I'm really sorry you didn't like this song. I'm like, look, mate, I don't want to shame you. It's my taste. I just don't like this. Like,
yeah. As a musician, you understand that not everybody is going to like, you know, some people didn't like Luna Kiss, and that's fine. Like, I don't mind. It's like, you can tell me, I don't even mind. It's like, that is the beauty of music. You don't have to like what another person likes. You know, like there's some music where I think as I'm getting older, I'm quite blunt. Like if someone says, oh, do you like this? And listen to them, like, I don't. And you can tell they're disappointed.
Yeah. They don't really care.
And like I get so much more passionate about songs that I hate. Like if we were doing this like 10 songs I hate, I'd be like, I'd have a whiteboard with reasons I hate this song. Whereas instead I go, this is my favorite song ever.
We should do that.
Just how much I hate. Oh, I heard something recently. I don't know who it was. I don't care. I don't want to know who it was. I had to send it to people to go, listen to this. This is awful. Just what is this drivel? Yeah, but like my favorite song in the world, I'm like, oh, this is my favorite song. And then a song I don't like, I'm like,
yeah.
But that's because I care about music. There was a great thing Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age said. He was like, music's the only thing I've ever taken seriously. And I'm like, yeah, I have no sense of humor about music. I have no like, this isn't a bit fun. I mean, it is for some people. It's, you know, some people just put the radio on when they go to work or, you know, when they're cleaning the house, and it's not a big deal for them. It's not, and that's fine. But you're like, no, this is every waking breath of my life. It cares about music, always thinking about music, even when I'm doing something at work. It's the only thing I've ever actually dedicated myself to.
I'm going to be honest, that's the same with me. You obviously know that I've struggled with depression, stuff because of trauma and stuff like that. Music's been that when I've been alone.
It holds your hand, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's been the companion. I know not many people like them, but some of My Chemical Romance songs has helped me through stuff. And they're a bit like Queen now with their music. And I know a lot of people don't like them. I've never liked Panic at the Disco.
Yeah,
I've never liked them. Like, I don't know why. But people go, oh, you don't like Panic? Oh, I'm like, no.
I did at the time. I went to see them on like their first tour. I really respected them. I wasn't necessarily a big fan of their music, but they did a live at Abbey Road thing, and they did a cover of the band called a song called "The Weight," which is a gorgeous song. And they were saying, like in the interview, people were like, the guitarist Ryan Ross, I think, he was like, "Oh, people keep saying to us, oh, you're not very good at your instruments," and he was like, "We're 17." He was like, most rock stars have had 20 years to learn to play their instruments. He's like, I'd only been playing for a couple of years, and we're touring and we're on stage. And he was like, because they were on Fueled by Ramen record label. And he was like, our record label didn't want us to come and do this performance today. And he was like, but we went against them and we've come here. And he's like, they wanted us to go and do Smash Hits interview where they're like, oh, what's your favorite ice cream? And he's like, we've gone, no, we want to come and do this performance. And I that sort of gave me quite a respect for them. I was like, yeah, they've basically been scooped up and shoved into this position that they were too young to know what they were signing, too young to know what they were doing particularly, and fair play to them.
I said I didn't like their early stuff. I just don't know why.
It's weird. it's pretty unique. Isn't
that's probably why, because I was more into, obviously, I keep saying Foo Fighters, Queens of the Stone Age, stuff like that. I've kind of gone off Queens of the Stone Age a tiny bit, well, because I haven't listened to them in ages. I
haven't liked any of the newer stuff. I'm like, it feels like they've lost their teeth.
Yeah, for me though, it's always been the Foo Fighters, and their last album about Taylor and Dave's mum, their best work they've ever done.
I'll have to check it out. I haven't gone through a Foo Fighters phase in a while.
Yeah.
On Queens of the Stone Age, we met, bumped into Nick Oliveri, the bass player, in a pub in London, just random. And I think he is their ex-bass player. It's Michael Schumann now. I think he got kicked out of Queens of the Stone Age for being a bit too rock and roll. But we were in the World's End in Camden, and we're like, that really looks like Nick Oliveri. Yeah. Like, does look like him. It really does look like him, doesn't it? And he was like across the bar. And we're like, sort of when we're getting pictures up on our phones, we're like,
then you walk up to him with your phone and go.
We were getting closer, like, and then he put his hand up like that, and he had tattoos, and it matched the picture, and we're like, that is him. Straight over with drinks, like, hi, you're Nick Oliveri. Hi, we're really big fans. We spent about 20 minutes chatting to him.
Absolutely. And he goes, I saw you staring at me.
He just oozed cool. And then we ended up having the most rock and roll night of our lives in London. After that, like he put some rock and rollness on us, and I don't know how we weren't arrested in London that night, but we were just on a mission that night.
I was told that when Foo Fighters played in Glasgow, Dave Grohl went to King Tut's.
Yeah.
And everyone just didn't know what to do because he walked in and he goes, so who wants a beer? To the whole bar. And he bought everyone a couple of rounds.
It's nice.
And even the bartender said, I don't know how I work.
How do I put that through the till? Or just like, how many am I doing? Am I supposed to stand here doing this all night?
Yeah. I mean, if Dave Grohl said to me, "John, a pint?" I was like, yes, and we need to have a talk. Podcast right now. Anyway.
So, final song. All right, there's final one song. Actually. Final song for this part, if that's how we want to do it.
As long as you want to do another part, that's fine.
No, yeah, I'm happy to do it. Yes, that is the song. So when you said about like songs holding your hands, so after last year from losing Callan, an old schoolmate of ours who passed away very suddenly, he was with me that night in London as well. It's just ridiculousness. But then my mum passed away only a few weeks before Callan. I think my mum died in May and Callan passed away in August. So it's like a double whammy of both of them were sudden, unexpected deaths. Neither, your parents, you can kind of say you can deal with your parents dying isn't really the right way to go about it, but you understand that it is a thing.
Yeah.
It's, everyone, your parents die. That's why they buy you a guinea pig when
it's going to happen.
That train is going to get into the station someday.
Yeah.
Whereas like Callan dying at 32, that's not supposed to happen. Was he 32,
like
33?
What happened, it's a bit like, sorry to interrupt, but it's a bit like, I totally get where you're coming from. What happened with me, I had a work friend who was actually a very good friend of mine, Darren. It was the week everyone went into lockdown. It was one thing after another that week, one thing after another. And it was basically my boss, who's a friend of mine, said, Dan, can I have a word? And I thought, I'm in trouble. And he broke the news that the day after I saw Darren, he died in from a heart attack that night. And I have to admit, there was a song by a band called I Prevail, called Hurricane, was so prominent in that time of lockdown. Virtually lost my job because of COVID, Darren, and I'll never forget the lyrics. It hit me like a hurricane, and it did. It was like, and there's so many people who tried to reach out to me at that time. I just didn't want to know. I was just like,
there's nothing anybody can say anyway, is there? There's no point in you sort of talking to somebody like, there's nothing you can say, and nobody knows what to say, and
and they're trying to be. I had a few. Just celebrate his life. That kind of feeling of like, I will, but not right now.
That comes later.
Sorry,
but then we were lucky. With the Callans and my mum's death, both of them was like, both of them went to the doctors like, I've got a bit of a niggle, and the doctor was, you'll be dead within a month. It was one of those like, because the day my mum passed away, we were supposed to, me, Callan, and James, the drummer from Lunakiss, we were supposed to be climbing Ben Nevis in Scotland on the Saturday. We were driving up on the Friday, supposed to be climbing Ben Nevis on the Saturday, drive back on the Sunday. And obviously my mum died on the Thursday. So it's like, we're not going to Ben Nevis. Well, I'm not. You can, but I've got to be here. And then Callan was like, to be honest, mate, I'm glad you've cancelled it. He's like, I've got my chest is hurting. He was like, I think I've pulled a muscle. No, it turns out that was his first noticing his cancer. And he went to the doctors. They thought it was pneumonia. So they were treating him for that. And then again, they went, no, you'll be dead by the end of the month. Straight to hospice, straight, no options, just no, into a hospice. Then at least, like your friend dying suddenly of a heart attack, at least we got to sit around the bed with him in the hospice and have beers and sort of spend time alone. And, the honor of being able to go, it was an honor to grow up with you. Like my best friend, Orphan Scott, it was an absolute honor to have shared all of that with you. Fucking salutes, like, to be able to have those conversations.
You'll see him again.
We were all drinking beers, and the nurse came in to give him some medication. And she was like, I don't think you're supposed to take this with beer. And I was like, what's it going to do? Make him ill? And she was like, yeah, I suppose, just have it. She's like, just take it with your beer.
Not to kind of like make a joke of what happened.
We've made jokes all the way through it.
I would be like, if that was me saying it to either me or, like Nick Smith, David Wood, because they're like my childhood best friends, I would have been like, not being funny, I'm dying anyway.
Exactly. We made so many inappropriate jokes. It was the only way we got through it, really. It was just like, and then,
I think that's what he probably would have wanted as well.
Otherwise, everyone's just going to sit around being miserable, and it's like, no, we've got to make some jokes about it. And then at the same time, James's dog was really ill, and then it became this, who's going to go first, Callan or James's dog? Callan's in his like hospice bed going, he's like, I can't believe that dog's going to outlive me. And we're like, well, it might not actually. And he's like, it's like so dark. But it became this like running bet of like, how's Paddy? Paddy's looking ill. Oh, Callan, oh my, if you didn't laugh, it'd just be a horror show. It was a horror show, and it was absolutely awful. But yes, next song is a song which just held my hand through all of that. It came out, it's Boy Genius, which I've gone on and on about the last year. They've just won loads of awards, and it's Phoebe Bridgers, Lucy Dacus, and Julianne Baker, so a super group again. And there's two of their songs, but I've gone with this one. And actually, after people were saying, like, people try and talk to you after you've lost somebody like that. There's a song of theirs called Cool About It, which always makes me think of all the people that I was talking to around that time. And there's like, them not knowing what to say. And it's like, I'll be cool about it, but I don't know what to say. And so I highly recommend checking that song out. But this song is called Not Strong Enough. And I had a great when we first got the phone call, that my dad, being super blunt, he's like, doctor's rang. I was like, yeah. He's like, your mum, nothing they can do. I was like, right, what do you mean? You're like,
that one.
So wind back a bit. What do you mean? He went, no, fucked. So, right, what are you talking about? He's like, no, be dead. Nothing they can do. Right. How long? Don't know. Right, okay. And then you're sort of like, right, I don't know what to do with this information. My car, that Callan bought me a car to try and persuade me to learn how to drive. He's like, I've got you a car, learn to drive. But that became sort of cell of emotion almost. Like I could go and sit in the car and just bawl my eyes out.
Yeah,
and it was like a little cell. Then you come out and you're like, brilliant. And I was like, I don't know who to speak to. I was like, I don't know who to speak to. I haven't, I don't know anyone that's been through this similar. And I remembered my friend Kears, who's a guitarist from a band called Arthur and the Invincibles, who are brilliant. And he's a great guitarist. And I was like, he lost his mum last year in a similar situation. And I was sort of rang him in a complete mess. And I was like, I don't know what to do. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't, you go through bad situations in your life, but someone dies at the end of this one. There's no bottom to how dark this is going to get, especially when you've never been through it before. Yeah. And my mum's condition essentially paralyzed her day by day. Just literally started at the feet and worked up until her last couple of days. She was essentially locked in, couldn't move, couldn't speak, but was still completely fine. So it got really dark. It's like, I said to him, I was like, I don't know if I'm strong enough to deal with this. And he went, you don't need to be strong. And he's like, you're not fighting anything. There's no strength required. He's like, all you can do is take each wave as each wave comes. And I was like, you're absolutely right. And he was right. And it wasn't, there was no strength required. You think there is, but there isn't. You just have to turn up and take each day's news and, what's happened each day. But I'm so thankful for him. I didn't even know him that well at the time. It's just like, I know your mum's dead, but mine's about to be. So, what do I do? How does this situation work? And he was wonderful about it. And the song is called Not Strong Enough. And the amount of hours I spent crying my eyes out to this song in that car. But it's gorgeous. So I'll give it a go.
Yeah. Okay. I've just changed the lighting. I realised I was a bit light.
Become mood lighting.
It looks better.
Black hole opened in the kitchen. Every clock's a different time. It would only take the energy to fix it. I don't know why I am the way I am. Not strong enough to be your man. I tried, I can't stop staring at the ceiling fan, spinning out about things that haven't happened.
And I love that line, it would only take the energy to fix it. Like, you don't. I love that line.
There's also depression as well.
Drag racing through the canyon.
Yeah, just don't do anything.
Singing boys don't cry. Do you see us getting scraped up off the pavement? I don't know why I am the way I am. Not strong enough to be your man. I lied, I am just lowering your expectations. Half a mind that keeps the other second guessing. Close my eyes and count.
I read something that Dave Grohl was meant to play drums on this album, but didn't in the end.
I'm trying to feel why he didn't.
Yeah.
He does like to go off one more.
Always an angel, never a god. Always an angel, never a god. Always an angel, never a god. Always
There's some gorgeous live performances of this on YouTube.
always an angel, never a god. 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 Always an angel, I don't know why.
love how much the three voices complement each other.
Of what I just heard. Well, it's finished now, isn't it?
But yeah, that was the end of the song. What was that, sorry?
A little bit of a Musey, you know, like the song, what's it called? You know the music video for Muse where this person's falling down this hole. Not Newborn, Bliss, or something like that.
Oh, I think that's going back. That's like back, sitting watching MTV2 and Kerrang at school.
But it's kind of like, this had a bit of that, I can't even describe what I heard. It's that science fiction back and forth noise, you know, like a sci-fi kind of noise to it.
Oh yeah, just sitting subtly underneath, like a sine tone sort of.
Yeah, because things like that just jump out at me at times. I'm like, oh, I like that, you know. So yeah,
the extra layer.
Yeah, I see why that song would help you like through that time.
Yeah, I seem to just gravitate at that point to girls, like female singers for some reason. I guess there's sort of a bravado that comes to men making music. Do you know what I mean? There's an ego to it. There's a masculinity, and I was just like, I don't want that. I want the vulnerability that women put into music.
I think I agree with you on that point, but I think we're now living in a generation where men are actually, especially singers, because have you heard of Ren? There's a guy called Ren.
Yeah, I've heard bits.
Well, if you want, you've got a choice. If you want to react to either Ren or my brain is just completely numb. Sleep Token, you got a choice if you want to react to, because there's a song called High Ren where he's been through a lot.
Yeah,
he's been through a lot of he's got a really bad mental health and issue, and he goes to Switzerland to have an operation on his brain. Like, he's been through the ringer. And he's very open about his mental health. He's open about how he tried to save his friend from jumping off a bridge in London and it was too late.
Ooh.
Like, in his songs, they're like very impactful. So yeah, like as I was saying, I think now there are small pockets of artists who are like, I'm going to be honest with you with where I've been, where I'm at, because you are right. There are some artists who are like, no, I'm not talking about it. I'm big. Look how great I am. You know. Yeah.
And comes across in the music 100%. You can smell it a mile off, I think.
Yeah.
And like I said with like Capaldi, I just like, I don't believe you. I don't think you wrote that.
Yeah.
I think you and about 20 other songwriters that the record label have thrown at you have written that, and it's been you probably the sentiment wrote, but I don't know. I don't believe it's, you know, like it feels like he's doing a cover of his own songs.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can tell that when somebody's singing, and you're just like, but for some reason, Boy Genius. I loved Phoebe Bridgers anyway from before. Her album's fantastic, and then they announced they were doing this Boy Genius thing, and luckily the album came out just at the right time for me to latch onto it. And I've done that. That's the most I've done that with an album in years.
Yeah,
it was my most played of last year by a long way.
I think it was very odd when Taylor Hawkins died from Foo Fighters. I think their new album, which came out, I kind of needed that because you know me, I've seen Foos twice. I was going to see them again, which I am this year. But it's going to be really odd that Taylor isn't there. I've never met the guy. I'm talking as if he's my best friend. But I think when you get that invested with an artist or a band, you feel their pain because he's been part of that process of making that music, which actually has helped, you know. Yeah.
There was an artist, I was supposed to go, Andrew Weatherall, who's a famous, like very highly respected DJ, not famous in the terms of like would fill stadiums and like, but he was like a DJ's DJ. His objective was to try and weird the crowd out, to play stuff that they've never heard, and like, you know, some Turkish jazz into some Norwegian, you know, and just like, but that's why you went to see him, for a musical education.
Yeah.
And he was a fascinating bloke. And I got tickets. This cafe in Birmingham had booked him to give a talk. And there was only 30 tickets, and I had tickets to go see. I was like, oh my God, he's going to bestow so much wisdom. And then he died like a few days before the sudden heart attack or aneurysm. Then I remember reading it on the news, just like, no, Andrew Weatherall's dead. And the next one that's going to do that for me is Billy Connolly.
Oh, man.
When Billy goes, that's going to be a hard one for me. He's like a grandfather for me. He has been with me my entire life.
Yeah, he's almost gone, isn't he, now?
Yeah, it's like any day now. Me and Callan, before he died, we were like, when Billy goes, we're spending a day just watching Billy Connolly and drinking. So now even double so now when Billy goes, I've got to spend a day just getting drunk and watching old Billy Connolly stuff.
My favourite thing of Billy Connolly, and I know it was in The Hobbit, which he was this ginger dwarf in The Hobbit. And this army was like, he goes, could I ask you kindly to sod off? Billy Connolly.
Just in his delivery.
And I bet you he was the one who said, can I say that?
Yeah.
But
you got I can do it better.
Yeah, some of his jokes about the terrorists at Glasgow airport, he goes, you picked the wrong town, mate. Because in the news, like, there was a guy who was having a cigarette, saw the terrorists come out of the car, and he goes, like, cigarette out, walks over. And he goes, you're in Glasgow. Yeah. You're going to get someone who's going to punch you.
Yeah, that's never going to work in Glasgow.
Oh, trust me, no. Glasgow's a different breed of town.
I love Glasgow.
It's so funny. I'm just going to wrap this up. So let's do this next week, part 2. And yeah, thank you for coming on.
Thank you ever so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.